Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm your host, Dr. Rady Rahban, and we have a fantastic episode for you today. They're always fantastic, but this is extra fantastic. Number one, I love the subject matter. It is incredibly relevant and trending, facelifts. And the second is our guest is spectacular. I know I always say that. It's true. Our guests are spectacular because they're our own patients and we love them. But Marlena is exceptional in that she is one of the arguably top 5 most enthusiastic patients we've ever taken care of. And as a surgeon, the most enjoyable part of my job is to take care of people who are enthusiastic and excited for the work and energy and time that I invest in them. So you can imagine giving a child a gift and they're over the moon. It makes you so happy. And so we are so lucky and happy to have you, especially since you're an out-of-towner. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so what we want to talk about today is everything that encompasses facelift surgery. And I think your journey is an amazing example of what I think patients need to know about facelifts. It's all over the social media. It's all over the news. Facelifts are exploding. I think, as I've said on many occasions, most trends are nonsensical. They come, they go, they're trends. That's why they call them. But facelifts are not trends. Facelifts have been around since the beginning of plastic surgery. And this particular explosion, I think, is one of the few times where social media was beneficial. And I'll elaborate why that is as well. So you are now 8 weeks out from a facelift, a brow lift, a chin aug, and fat transfer, right?
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. And you are all of how many years old?
66.
66 years young. And what we want to talk about and what I want the show to go is pre-surgery, after surgery, because I think both of those are very relevant. In other words, pre-surgery is what you were going through, why you chose to do it, why you chose to do it when you chose to do it, why you and I became best of friends. What does a facelift mean? And I'll explain what that means in a second, because people assume incorrectly a facelift is surgery on your whole face, when in reality it's a misnomer. It's actually should have been called a neck lift, but nonetheless. And then afterwards, we'll talk about what it's been like for 8 weeks, what your recovery has been like, the impact it's made in your life. You're a newlywed.
Yes.
You recently moved. You're in retirement, how it all plays in. Okay, so let's dive real quickly in. I think Sally told me you reached out to us in 2021, correct? But we operated on you in 2025.
Yes.
What the hell? What were you doing this whole 4 years?
I was saving.
Saving. Okay, that's wonderful. So I love that. And that I think is one of the reasons why I think you embody what I refer to as a wonderful patient. So you come in, you are 66 when we meet this in consultation. So let me back up a little bit. What was it that you were noticing? What was it that triggered, oh, I really want to change something? So you get up in the morning, you wash your face, you get in the mirror, and at some juncture you said, I think it's time to do, quote unquote, something about this surgical. What was that and what was going on in your life?
What was going on in my life? I had tried neck creams, facial creams, and every time I looked in the mirror, it was just, my eyes went straight to my neck.
Right.
And it was just a lot of like a turkey neck.
Right.
So that bothered me. The deep laugh lines.
Right.
Those were things that I didn't like taking pictures. So I just stopped altogether. I wouldn't take pictures because in the pictures, everyone else would see, this is a nice picture.
Right.
And I'd say, yeah, but my neck.
Right. And so your neck was what was mostly troubling you, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then you kind of, obviously it doesn't happen overnight, right? But our aging is a gradual process. And so you kind of looked at it and you're like, it's okay, it's not so bad. And what do you think was the turning point? Because I think for everybody it's interesting, what is the turning point in which you're like, oh, I'm going to do my nose. Oh, I'm going to do my neck. Oh, I'm going to do my eyelids. What was it for you?
The turning point for me was when I retired, or when I left the legal profession. I was there for 4 decades, and I decided that stress, that I wanted to move on and work into my nonprofit
Right.
company. And so that was the point where I went, this is the time. The timing was perfect.
Okay, so it was a good chapter change.
Yes,
and
chapter
which is very
change.
common for people, right? For people choose to do surgeries in certain transitions in life, right? Actually, ironically, we do noses often as young adults go from high school to college. It's a great transition. And in your instance, retirement, ending your, your quote unquote work life, it was a good transition for you. Perfect. So here you are obviously a very bright young lady, and you spent, you're in the legal profession, you know a lot about doing homework and research. So you're sitting at home and this was prior to the explosion of facelifts. You're sitting at home, you're like, this whole neck thing is just driving me nuts. And my whole face is looking older and aging me. And anyone who knows you, your energy and your enthusiasm is that of a young child. And then you have this facial expression that isn't matching up. So what did you do in terms of research? How the hell did you end up with us? Because where did you live? Where do you live?
I lived in San Diego.
So you lived in San Diego, yet I'm here in LA. So you must have done some research. What was your journey like? Because I think it's very important to figure out how you got here.
My journey was my sister and I have like a vision board. And so we were deciding, okay, how are we going to age gracefully? So what we did, we said, okay, we are going to start our research project. She's a paralegal as well. And that's how we started. We just Googled, I found you on Instagram. I listened to a podcast and I was like, he is fabulous. I was like, Marcy, you got to listen to this podcast.
Right.
So we started listening to it, and we decided from that point, I was like, Marcy, let's do a consultation.
Okay.
And she was like, yes,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
And that's when we started.
Okay. So you're a paralegal. We're a paralegal. She's a paralegal. Nobody does more research than paralegals. I mean, it's literally your job is to be a researcher, for the love of God.
Right.
And so you guys start digging, and your entry point, and I like that because obviously we're on the podcast together. What a full circle moment, right? Back when you started listening, you're like, oh, this is super cool. And here you are now sitting here with the facelift from your vision board. I want you to make me a vision board. Okay? So
I will.
You made it full circle. But why am I here on the weekend? I'm here because I'm trying to create content that I think is valuable. And the fact that you listened to our podcast, that was your point of entry, and you ended up doing your surgery, and here you are happier than a clam. Yes. It really is very fulfilling for me because at the end of the day, as much as I like doing this, I have a lot of other shit I could be doing. Like I have my kids and my own hobbies and things. But I do it because of your types of stories, right? I get DMs all the time from people around the country, around the world. Hey, Dr. Rahban, I want to tell you, kudos to you. I use your podcast to listen to this, that, the other. And I just had surgery in Turkey or in England or in Canada or in Minnesota, and it went great. Thank you so much. So you do that, you do your homework, and you and I meet. And we meet, and I examine you, and I said, okay, Marlena, here are the things that I think are going on. And what was going on in you is going on in every single patient. Nothing about your presentation was unusual. Every single body in their face ages exactly the same way. And what do I mean? Your brows were sagging. Your upper eyelid had some excess skin. Your lower eyelid had a little bit of extra skin and a few little bags. And your lower face, that is your nasolabial folds, the marionettes, the jawline, the jowl, the neck had excess skin. That's how everyone ages. It starts somewhere in our 40s and progresses every few years. Now, someone is lucky in that their genetics, their lifestyle, their anatomy is more favorable, and someone is unlucky because their lifestyle, their genetics, and their anatomy is unfavorable. But nobody gets away with it. Not Brad Pitt, not Angelina Jolie. No one can escape Father Time. So you came in and I said, you have beautiful woman. I love your eyes. You have gorgeous green eyes. But your brow, your upper eyelid, your lower eyelid, and your face and neck, lower face and neck, are in need of some assistance. And so in you had a unique element, not a unique element, but in addition to all of that, your chin was a little bit weak. And when you do a neck lift and a facelift, you are at the mercy of the bone structure. Individuals, we always love, everyone loves to look at before and afters online. It's like, it's so contagious. So you're looking at the before and after results of facelifts, and the ones that will stand out to you, the ones that'll be holy shit, the ones that'll be wow, the ones that you save on your gallery are people with great bone structure. Because in great bone structure, you are rewrapping the skin over amazing bones. When you don't have great bone structure, a good forehead, good cheekbones, a nice jaw, or a chin, your results are not as good. So in your instance, you have all those other wonderful things, but your chin was a little bit on the weaker side. And so I said to you, in addition to these 4 things, brow, upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and lower face and neck, I suggest a chin aug. You, as you do in everything you do, were excited and giddy and like, let's do it, I'm ready to rock and roll. So then you went and met with Sally, our coordinator, and she said, okay, that'll be $647,000. At which point
I was like, what?
At which point your enthusiasm kind of died down a little bit. It was a little bit of a, no, with all fairness, the number one complaint online is, why are facelifts so expensive? And the truth of the matter is that most of it is nonsensical. There is an appropriate amount of money to pay for things. Hey, this Coca-Cola is $3. Now you go to the south of France in this most exquisite hotel, looking over the ocean, and that same can of Coca-Cola is twice as expensive. You don't balk. You're paying for the experience. But then someone says to you, this can of Coca-Cola is 30 times more expensive, and then that's a problem. And so what's happened with the price of facelifts is that because the frying pan is hot, surgeons are trying to, hit the pan while it's hot, right?
Right.
And so they're maximizing on this new wave. And some surgeons, it's their prerogative, they do whatever they want. I'm a 100% believer of supply and demand, capitalism, and they're charging outrageous amounts of money. But that is not the norm, nor should it be. It's a very complicated surgery with a very lot of risk. This past Friday, I did an 11-hour surgery. Brow, upper lid, lower eyelid, facelift, fat transfer, nose job. And as a result, I was crushed. I was so tired. As a result, I'm going to charge for my time and my years of experience. But I personally draw the line when it's abusive or outrageous. Like, I could charge, if I wanted, no joking, $350,000. But I choose not to. And guess what? The market will speak. Because if I decide to charge $355,000, then I'm probably not going to be that busy, am I? Because not everyone can afford that. So I think this concept that people are yelling and screaming online is, if someone is outrageously priced, go to someone else. Oh, that Bugatti is $3 million. Great, there's a $25,000 car on sale. So that's all nonsense. But of course, naturally, it is still expensive, right?
Yes.
And you looked at the price and you said to yourself, wow, okay, not outrageous, but more than I had anticipated.
Correct.
And I really want to hammer this message home. So we have patients who come, we tell them what they need, we tell them how much it is, and for them, it's more than they had anticipated or budgeted or whatever. And instead of going, well, okay, so what do I have to do and what can I do later? How do I fragment this so that I can get started on my journey, do some of the things that I can, hold off on some of the things that I can't because I just can't afford it right now. We have patients who just are like all or none. And they're like, well, this is just too expensive. I can't do it. And we say, okay, well, understandable. Why don't you do this and do this other thing in a year or two? And for some reason, I don't know how they can't comprehend that, because at the end of the day, it's not like, if you go somewhere else and you do all of it and do a great job for less, no problem. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying they decide not to do it at all. So what I loved about you is you sat down with Sal and you said, okay, well, great, totally understand, but this is my current position. This is a little more than I had budgeted.
Correct.
And therefore, what can we or can't we do? Let's work together. And we love that. And we will 100% work with the patients, especially when they're fantastic like you. And so we came together and we decided, here are the things that are sort of a must, if you will. Like, you need these things for you to be, I told you, without them, you wouldn't be happy. Because like, you can't remodel the kitchen, for example, and then leave the stove unchanged. But you can remodel the kitchen and not do the master bathroom. The two are unrelated, right?
Yes.
And as much as I want to do my master bathroom, now's not the time. Let's get going on the kitchen. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Let's enjoy that for now. And you were very good about recognizing that I'll do what I can now and I'll come back for the rest later. And we were very good at working with you at trying to fragment what things had to be done and what things could wait for later. And as a result, we came up with the surgery that we did for you. And let's go over them together. So we did a facelift. And so everyone is like really confused. First of all, we did a deep plane facelift, which is all the talk. Nothing that is being done today is new. Everyone, I want you to hear this. Oh my God, what are they doing today? It looks so good. It's because we're operating on younger patients. Historically, facelifts were done in late 60s and 70s, and now they're being done in 40s and 50s and early 60s. When we operate on younger, healthier, better patients, we get better outcomes. But the surgery itself, the deep plane facelift, has been around for 40 years. We did a deep plane. Let's explain what that is. We enter in under the skin. We identify the muscle layer. It's called the SMAS, SMAS, which stands for subaponeurotic, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about it. And we then go under that muscle, and there lies all of the plumbing, the nerves, the arteries, all the good stuff. And then we delicately separate that layer, and then we move the muscle along with the skin comes, and we reposition it higher. The reason why that technique is preferred and is the technique that we recommend is it looks more natural than if we just pull the skin without the muscle layer, because the skin, as we all know, stretches and is not so strong. Okay, so the other thing that's confusing is that people think that a facelift, and understandably, is the whole face. Like, wait, what do you mean I need my brows done? Isn't that part of the facelift? Back in the day, way back in the day, facelift was facelift. But in all of modern day time, last 25 years, the facelift was where we make an incision around the ears. And as a result, most of the work is done in the neck. It fixes the excess neck skin, check. It fixes the bands in the neck, check. It fixes the jowl in the jawline, check. It fixes the marionette around your mouth, check. In addition, it helps with your cheeks or your mid-face. What it does not address is your lower eyelids, your upper eyelids, or your brow. So we did your facelift, which was the main event, because you said, when I looked in the mirror, the thing that made me batty was all that wrinkling Shar-Pei skin in my neck. In you, because your chin was a little bit weak, I suggested to you a chin aug, because had I not done the chin aug, your neck results would not have been as good. You very intelligent said, well, that makes sense. Okay, I buy into that. Check. And you had some hollowness. So when we age, two things happen. One, our skin gets loosey-goosey and sags, hence requiring the lifting part. And one is we lose some healthy fat in our face. My son and daughter are Michelin babies and nice and fat, and their faces are full and round. And when you look at someone at 90, they're hollow. So in addition to facelifting and chin auging, we added a little bit of fat very judiciously in areas that were depleted. usually around the chin, in the middle of the face and the cheeks. Check. And you said, Dr. Rahban, that's really the best I can do right now. My lower eyelid and my upper eyelid and my brow, I'll have to come back later. And I said to you, no problem, but I really suggest you do your brow. Why? Because when we recruit all that neck skin, all that skin you hated, all that crap that's laying there, and we bring it up and up and up and up, where does it end up?
At the side of
At the side of your eyes, right? Because the facelift technique that I think one should be doing is one that moves upwards, because the neck skin has fallen downwards. So here we are, and you had a lot of loose skin.
Yes.
And
yes.
Now I've stopped abruptly at your eyes.
Yes.
And while we could have done that, I felt that that wasn't ideal. And unlike the analogy of doing your kitchen and your master bathroom, this was more like doing your kitchen and leaving the stove. Yes. It needed to be done. So we worked together, yes, and we found a way around it. Yes, and we got it done because it was necessary, leaving behind the upper and lower eyelids, which you look beautiful and fantastic, and it's a home run. And if you never come back, you're 1,000 times better than you ever were. And if by chance you choose in a year or 2 or 5 or 10 to be like, hey, you know what? I'd like to just finish this thing off. We're here happily waiting for you. But what I liked is that we worked together, as surgeon and patient should, to find what we do or don't do. I didn't gaslight you and be like, if you don't do it all, it's going to look like shit.
Right.
And you also didn't throw in the towel and get all pouty that if I can't do it all, I'm not going to do it. And here you are, 8 weeks out, and to me, you look spectacular.
Thank you.
Are you healed? No. Are you healing? Yes. But I think if you walked into Starbucks right now, like, I don't think anybody would have a clue that we did all this surgery for you.
No, they would not.
Okay, all right. Enthusiasm as expected. So one of the things that I think are very important is for people to understand sort of the risks associated with a facelift. Yes. Okay? And then we'll do the aftermath. So I told you, what were the risks that I told you with, because all the positive things are all great, but what were the risks that I told you that I thought you should be aware of? Do you remember them?
You know what? I don't.
That's great. That's a good sign. It means nothing happened to you, because I assure you, you would have remembered. So, number 1, bleeding. And by bleeding, we refer to a hematoma. And a hematoma or bleeding is always a risk with every surgery. But with faces, it's a bigger issue, because when we separate the skin off of your face and get deep, there are a lot of blood vessels, right? Where the face has a lot of blood supply. And if one of those blood vessels, after the fact, you're in recovery, you're in aftercare, you're at home, you're day 4, decides to burst open, now you're going to get a huge golf ball, baseball size blood collection in your face. What is that? That's an emergency. I got to take your ass back to surgery and open everything up on that side. That doesn't sound fun.
Nope.
No, it's not. So hematomas are a risk. That's why we don't operate on people with high blood pressure. And that's why when you have high blood pressure, we need you on your medications and your blood pressure to be well controlled. Because blood pressure that elevates in the recovery or in the first few days is a risk for those blood vessels to pop open. Number 2, we said infections. Very rare in the face, because the face has a lot of blood supply. More blood supply, less risk for infection. Number 3, we talked about scars. Scars are super important because you're doing all this. You want to wear a ponytail. Look at this young lady. For those of you who cannot or are not watching and listening, you have very short hair.
Right.
So wait, historically, you get a facelift, scars are kind of shitty, but you wear your hair down. So it was a good trade. Today's facelift, you better crush it, because patients want to wear ponytails, short haircuts. You have a very, very short haircut, both exposing the front and behind your ears. So the scars located, brow lifts, wear your scars for your brows, in your hairline.
In my hairline.
Right, so those are hidden.
So those are
They're
hidden.
in your hairline.
That's right. That's right.
Where are the scars for your facelift?
Are they around the sides?
So they're in your
my
sideburn,
sideburn.
in front, in your ear, behind your ear, and down the back of your hair. So those are pretty damn visible for someone with short haircut. And where's your chin underneath your neck,
my
small incision
neck,
underneath,
small,
right?
very small.
Right. And so at 8 weeks, which is mile 2 of a 26-mile marathon, your scars look pretty damn good,
They do.
right? Such that here you are, here you go,
Yeah.
you're living your life, and it's only going to get better. So bleeding, infection, scars, and 2 more are very important. The next one is necrosis of tissue. Oh my God, what is that? That sounds horrible. Necrosis is dead skin. What do you mean dead skin? I mean dead skin. It died. It didn't get blood supply. Why wouldn't it get blood supply? You just told me the face has so much blood supply. Because we're lifting that skin of the neck and behind the ear up and off of its blood supply, and we're going to pull on it and sew it down. So when you are a smoker, when you are a diabetic, when you have heart disease, when your surgeon is very aggressive, that skin becomes compromised and it can turn black and die. Okay, well, what the hell do you do? Then you got to cut it out and it's a nightmare. So it's very important things done right. And the last, and by far the most dreaded, is nerve damage, paralysis. Because if you're doing a legit facelift, a deep plane facelift, we are going under the muscles and we're literally staring at these tiny ass nerves. And if you so much as damage one of them, that muscle that nerve innervates doesn't work and you're paralyzed. Also a very frightening and horrific complication. So how many of those did you get? 0.
0.
Okay. So
oh, I'm sorry. I was 0. I was
Yeah.
thinking about, what I was thinking about is the consultation.
yes.
And I was just going to add to that
Yeah.
just say that when I came in, I just loved the way you kind of positioned, said, now this is what we're going to do. You went through it so thoroughly. It just added to my research. I loved the fact that it was just layman's terms. It wasn't over my head.
Yeah. I mean, the
You were just
objective as a
talking.
physician is to educate
You
the
did,
patient.
and you did.
And you cannot, and so for example, as much of the podcasts you listen to over and over again, nothing will substitute sitting in front of a surgeon with a mirror and going, here, do you see how this, you see how this is collecting in front of near your eye? Yeah, I see that. Now, you see how I lifted up your brow and it cleared that up? Oh yeah, I see that. There is no podcast, there is no Instagram post, there ain't no nothing that is going to substitute that. So you need to ultimately connect with a surgeon, whoever that surgeon is, who you believe A, is able to do the surgery, and B, cares enough about you to spend the time to teach you. Because I don't really need to say any of this stuff to you. I know what I'm doing. Let me take care of you.
Right.
That's old school. That's paternalistic. A paternalistic is, hey, I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. Today, patients are smart. They want to know. They want you to educate them and whatever. So thank God that was all good. Those are the risks I think people need to know. Because why did we do this? We did this to improve the quality of your life. So that when you go in the mirror, you don't cringe. When you take a photo, you're the first and front and center. You're like, wait, you know what? Take both sides of me, please. Because that's how there is no bad side anymore. So we talked about now the first half, which is why you did it, when you did it, how you got ready for it, our conversation and everything. So the second half of this is the aftermath. So you are 8 weeks out. You're out of what I call the danger zone. You've healed beautifully. You're living your life. You have makeup on. You have your hair done. You are recently moved and moving again. You went from San Diego to Virginia and going from Virginia to Texas.
Correct.
You recently got married.
Yes.
And you recently got retired. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in your life. And it's very nice to know that you're starting this second chapter A+ in terms of the way you feel yourself. So let's put into words the juxtaposition, how you feel, and the juxtaposition to how you felt, let's say, 3 months ago.
Before the surgery.
Correct.
3 months ago, I was, I just didn't feel like myself. I, as you explained it, I had all this energy, and then I was like, but look at me.
Right.
And so it's so I didn't really want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. And so after the surgery,
right,
I am back to pickleball.
Okay. So pickleball, you're like a pickleball. Yes. I understand you're a pickleball champion.
I'm a pickleball champion.
Okay.
At 4 weeks, I could have went back, but
Right, we told you not
But
to.
you told me not. You said don't go
But
back.
that's a good point because it shows you that you're saying that had I said to you, hey, you're free to go do whatever, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm ready. So you were feeling awesome even by 4 weeks.
Correct. And you told me that. You said you're going to be feeling great. And I did. The first, like my aftercare recovery, I did need those 2 days in the care. That was so important to me. That was critical. There was no way that I would have been able to go home. And
yeah, we force you to go even though you say otherwise.
Yes.
We know better, right? We know
Yes.
what you're going to experience, and it's our job to make sure that we prep you. So we're like, hey, you're going to need someone around you. The first few days are a little intense. It's intense and then quickly wears off.
Yes, that's exactly. It was the first 2 days. They were intense in the care, and then it started to wear off. I went home. I did ice packs, and you said, "I want you chilling. I need you to chilling."
Right,
so
which is like
what?
Very difficult for you.
I know,
to do. Yes,
it was very difficult. So I had my ice packs going. I was like, I have to just sit here. I told my sister and chill, and she was like, "Yep." So I did ice packs and chilled. And then, like I said, the recovery time for me, there was not a lot of pain. As a matter of fact, I didn't use.
Yeah. So pain is something that people assume. Like when you look at someone 1 week out from the surgeries that you had and some of the ones that I do, you're like, oh my God, this person looks like they went 9 rounds with Mike Tyson. Right. Sometimes. Meaning they're wrapped up and they have some bruises and whatever. Sometimes actually you can't even tell they did anything. My point being is you would assume, wow, this is going to hurt. And it's fascinating. The face has little to no pain.
That is correct.
So you are here to substantiate that.
Yes.
Very good. And so you stopped taking pain meds pretty damn quick.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and so I was ready to go out, play my pickleball.
Right.
And how it changed as far as for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm able to take pictures. I love taking pictures. I go with my granddaughter. She does her little video.
Right.
And so it's so rewarding to me. It's so refreshing. It matches. I have a lot of energy. I'm ready to go out and just start the second half of my journey.
And it's beautiful when the gift wrapping matches the gift.
Yes.
Right? So here you are, and the gift is, some, gorgeous diamond. And then you put it in some shitty box, and then you wrap it with tissue paper or like a newspaper. Right. And I'm giving you somebody the gift, you're like, wow, this is pretty unexciting. And you open up, well, like, holy shit, there's a diamond in here. Right. So it's really nice when the outside of you matches the inside of you, and people don't understand there's sort of this discongruency that occurs. And for people who are enthusiastic, outgoing, lively, full of life, the idea or notion of looking at themselves and seeing themselves sort of weathered, it doesn't correlate. And I think that you embody the idea, and why I'm so excited you're here. You are the ideal candidate because you had the anatomy to go along with it. Like, you were a good candidate, you needed it. You had the enthusiasm and you had the willingness to do all of it. And so those are the type of people that we talk over and over and over again about candidacy. I could have done the same surgery in somebody who was a lesser candidate, have this and have a similar result, and they would not be nearly as excited.
Oh, I am so excited.
Right? And tell me a little bit about your interaction with your new husband. Because at the end of the day, he got engaged with you when you look like, quote unquote, the Sharpay. Right. And now all of a sudden, holy shit, you look like, a Dalmatian or a poodle. Right. And so what was that like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. He was like, oh my goodness. He said, you're already pretty.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course. I mean, he put a diamond on it. So he obviously thought you looked, I mean, it's not lip service. The man proposed to you, right? So he obviously loved the way you look. But you cannot tell me that this hasn't changed the intimacy, the spark, the excitement between you, not because of him, but because of you.
Yes, it has. The intimacy, the excitement, like we're in high school again.
Right.
Or like I'm in high school again, and he's just enthusiastic. It has been wonderful.
So what about people who are around you? Tell me what the feedback you've been getting. First of all, has anyone noticed? Like you just showed up, hey, Gail, hey, Susie, what's up, Tom?
No one has noticed. Only my inner circle, like my daughter, my son, my best friend. But as far as they're just like, wow, you look refreshed. Right. And I was like, oh, that's the look I was going for.
Yeah. you look like you swept in a tunnel. What happened to you? You're like, no, that's not the look I was looking for. So no one actually that you hadn't mentioned that you see has noticed. Have you had anyone come up to you and say, like, Marlena, what did you do? You look, no one's picked up on it. That's actually quite fascinating because I think you're been at before and after when we look at it together. I think it's pretty dramatic.
It is dramatic.
That's what I think is so fascinating. No, doesn't matter where you start. Let me give you this great analogy. People are always worried about looking natural. So some people, if natural is a 10, and you start as a 1 and you end up at a 10, that change is very dramatic, but the end point is natural. And some people start at a 5 and they end up at 10, and that change is less dramatic. All we care about is where you end up.
Yes.
Like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, I'd like to deposit this check. And the person behind the teller is like, oh, okay, no problem. You look normal. They don't know that, where you look when you started. But I would say you were a very dramatic result because I think your neck transformation, in particular with the assistance of the chin, has made such a significant difference.
It has. My daughter, who is so critical, she was like, Mom, you look younger. It has made a significant difference.
Yeah.
And even how you just project, how you smile, everything about you. My son said the same thing.
Yeah.
He was funny. He was like, I didn't even get a facelift. And then when he looked at me, he was like, Mom, you're beautiful. You look beautiful.
Isn't that exciting to see that coming out of your own children?
Yes.
I always like to keep bringing this part up in all of my podcasts because it's really, the surgeries are emotional to me at the end of the day. They're about the human, they're about the person, they're about the outcome. And so it's very important to highlight those things because we focus heavily on the before and afters. Oh, look at this scar, look at this incision, look how good the neck looks. Yeah, all that's fine and dandy, but really what it's about is what it then does to the person in their life. Oh, I just got a promotion. Oh, I just got married. Oh, my relationship with so-and-so is better. I feel stronger. I feel more empowered. Those are all the key elements. Yeah. What are your overall, because you are a paralegal and you are very savvy and you are very enthusiastic. What are your suggestions? What is your advice to individuals? Because a lot of people are now contemplating facelifts where they hadn't before. So tell me some of your things that you suggest.
My suggestion is, as you know, as a paralegal, research. And my sister and I had a file. I just literally made a file of you and all my notes and compared that. And just the more research and the more informed you become,
sure,
you can make that informed decision. And then after you go to the consultation. So my suggestion is the research, your podcasts are awesome. They're just such a wealth of information. I still listen to them today.
They're entertaining.
They're entertaining.
Yeah, I try to make sure I throw in a couple of curveballs in there to make sure it's entertaining for people.
Very entertaining, but most of all, it's just they're just informative, and that's what you need to know. Everything that you've discussed, and as you talked about, I think one of your podcasts was that you just did recently was what happens in the operating room.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah, that's I think that those 2 episodes with our nurse, it's very eye-opening.
Yes.
And I think people really don't understand that even when you've done your homework, even when you pay up, even when you go to the best places, even when the doctor's reputable, even crazy shit is happening, let alone if you don't do homework, let alone if you try to cut corners and be cheapo and go to some random ass place. It's crazy. And some of the things she said blew me away.
Yes.
So 26 years in this space, and I was still like, what? Are you kidding me? So I think that your advice is a sound one. It echoes what I've always said, which is the more homework you do, the more information you have, the more empowered you are. You'll never always guarantee a great decision, but you certainly will make a better decision than if you're dumb and don't know anything.
That's right.
All right.
And one thing that I would like to add is that when I was going into surgery, and I was in the room, and what really touched my heart was that, oh goodness, you came in and you put your hand on my knee and you said, I'm going to take care of you, and so is my staff. And
Yeah,
I was like,
it's true.
what? It was so personable. I was like, oh my gosh. And it just,
It's a very frightening experience.
it was.
Listen, at the end of the day, even though I've done this now for as many years as I have, and even though, I come in and patients are often surprised that I am as sensitive as I am because I come in with a certain degree of assertiveness. And I think it's a misunderstanding because at the end of the day, I'm flying your plane.
Yes.
And I'm flying your plane, not just flying it on a casual day. To me, every time I operate on a patient, it's a turbulent, very dangerous day. And I take a very, very heavy sense of responsibility, even though I may not express it, because it's not for you to worry about.
Right.
And so I don't want patients feeling my degree of anxiety or stress, because I think it's always stressful. But I do recognize that at the end of the day, this very frightening for them to be put asleep, go to sleep, wake up, not know. And so to the best of my ability, I try to thread the needle in terms of presenting that sense of confidence that you want in your surgeon, yet all the while still being sensitive and personal and caring to the patient. For me, that's been the utmost, most valuable thing or most important thing in my career. So I'm grateful that you appreciated it.
It shows, and I appreciate it.
And you are a lovely, lovely lady. And my staff is over the moon for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you deserve it.
I'm over the moon for you. I appreciate you so much, Dr. Rady.
You're very welcome.
You've changed my life, and wow.
It was a pleasure. You are a wonderful, wonderful woman. So, and it's a pleasure to take care of you. And I think that it's reflective of, do good for others, you do good. You do a ton of charity. Tell me a little about your charity that we always want to plug in people's opportunity. Tell me about your charity and what you do and what people can go and help.
I am a nonprofit 501c3. The name of my company is Posse, Parents of Students in Special Education, and I help children with IEPs and learning disability. I started it because my son had dyslexia, and so that's how I just start. After I was able to assist him, he had asked me, he said, "Mom, would you go back and help others?" Because his educational journey was so hard.
Yeah,
so that's what I do.
That's an amazing thing. And as I had said to you prior, believe it or not, myself and my wife both have, our earlier years of education were very challenging due to elements of dyslexia that, if go unrecognized, make early learning incredibly challenging. And unless you are lucky, sometimes it is enough to push you not to pursue it. So that is a wonderful thing that you're doing. And Posse, Posse.
You can find my website is possesandiego.org.
Beautiful. So you all heard that. So everyone go in there and contribute. It's a wonderful, wonderful cause. All right, guys, that's a wrap. This was a fantastic, you guys are very lucky because we had this beautiful guest on today. As always, I have two parting requests. They're always the same. They'll always be there at every show. Number one, if you love our program, please, right now, as we speak, get on a computer and go write a beautiful review. We live and die off of these reviews. They're the, if you will, the fertilizer that keep everyone here going. And the second is share the podcast. Share it with friends and family, because you think you know your friend or your family member, and next thing you know, they show up and they had surgery done. You're like, what the hell? And they may not have told you about it. And next thing you know, there's a complication and you only wish they had the information. So share it with everyone so they can download and subscribe. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Yet another wonderful episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. We are going to see you next week with yet another cool episode. All right, I'm your host, Dr. Rady Rahban.